Yo, and welcome to the EPM show. This is all things enterprise performance management. I'm Blake Bozarth, joined by Chad Pike in the house.
What's going on, man? I hope I didn't forget how to do this.
It's been a little bit, so hey, we have been all out, but we've missed you guys, and we're excited to jump back in. We've got some great episodes lined up for you guys. This is a jam session today. We're talking about the EPM talent scene. And particularly, we're talking about AI. We have three keys for you on how you can not only survive this new AI world, but how you can thrive in this new AI world. CoThryve, thrive, see what we did there. Anyways, we're excited for this.
Aha.
Chad, what is going on if you had to give your take on the EPM talent scene these days? What is happening? We're in the middle of April of 2023. What is happening in the EPM talent world?
Absolutely. We're kind of hitting the end of April, which is scary that we're
For
almost
that.
halfway through the year. But what's going on in the EPM talent space? Here's what I would say. I would say that tech has obviously slowed down a little bit. I would say that some of the partners have pulled back a tad, but overall, especially on the customer side, demand is still very high, very, very high, especially in the right sectors, healthcare, FSI, banking, things like that. I think it's still very, very strong overall, and there's still a massive appetite, I would say, for EPM tools and EPM professionals. Companies are being a little bit more selective in some of those other spaces that I mentioned because they're picking their spots, but executives still see the need and they're doubling down on the importance of planning in uncertain times and recession fears and all that. So balanced, but still very strong.
Sure that. Yeah, I agree. So we've definitely seen some partners in the space kind of pull back a little bit, maybe pipeline softened a little bit. Other partners as strong as ever, though. And then on the customer side, it seems like that demand is just as high, if not higher than ever before in terms of, and so it's almost interesting because we're working with a lot of model builders in this space, a lot of EPM talent on both the model building, the technical side, and the kind of sales side, project management side of the house. But a lot of the model building talent is thinking, hey, maybe this is a time, if I've been in the partner side, maybe it's a good time to think about that transition to the customer side of the house. So we're seeing a little bit of that. All in all, still relative. You mentioned tech has been weird. Tech has kind of suffered, obviously, the last 6 months or so. Continue to see some layoffs in that industry. But what's interesting is the last couple of months, it seems like those have started to pick back up again. So there's actually been an increase in tech job postings the last couple of months. And part of that may be related to this other new event that's happened in a big way over the last 6 months. And that is the Chat GPT movement and kind of the AI is upon us movement. And I want to talk about that a little bit because I think that really affects the way people view their role, their job, as they see what AI is capable of. So I know we've talked about it, Chad, that we're getting into three keys today for how you can thrive in an AI world. And let's hit us with number one.
Three keys. Key number one, y'all, we got to stay informed. We have to know what's happening. Just like if you're interested in the real estate market, you're interested in stocks, you read something every day, even if it's just 5 to 10 minutes about what's going on in that space. I think if we're going to set ourselves apart in the AI world, we need to be staying informed. We need to carve out a little bit of time, block it on your calendar if you want to be intentional about it, and just read what's happening. What are the updates with ChatGPT? Who's investing? Where are they investing? What specific capabilities are the next focus of AI and things like that? And be thinking about how that might apply to your work and your world and what you're doing. What would you add to that,
Hey,
Blake?
that's awesome. I would say it's simple, it's easier said than done, but that in and of itself, staying in the loop is going to give you a leg up. This whole podcast is about giving you an unfair career advantage, right? That's going to give you an unfair career advantage relative to 95% of your peers who are more like, "Oh yeah, I know it's coming, but that's not really my forte. And I don't want to I don't really know what I can do there, so I'm going to just keep doing what I usually do." Just by virtue of staying in the loop, you're going to be putting together, connecting dots. You're going to be thinking through like how can you apply some of this in your daily work. So if you haven't played around in ChatGPT, I would say a lot of you have by now. But the people who started doing this on the front end, they are getting the arbitrage opportunities, right? And so the latest thing is called Auto GPT, which is actually that next level, and it's not only like you can only form to do list, but and a little agent robot AI powered robot can actually complete some of your easy to do tasks and to do list. And that's getting more advanced, more robust over time. They're iterating on that. But just knowing what is happening with these apps and how you can leverage them even in your day job to make some of your, whether you're working on presentations or other simple things, basic coding, it can be extremely helpful for that kind of stuff. But staying in the loop, I think, is massive. I was just listening to a great podcast, Chad, My First Million. They were talking about this recently, and they're like, "Hey, it seems like there's like these waves that will hit society from time to time, right?" And we've seen the cryptocurrency wave, we've seen the Web3 wave recently. In the past, we've seen the social media wave, and it's like sometimes there's a wave like this that comes around that you have like an option of whether or not you jump on that wave, whether you participate or not, and it's not going to kill your business if you don't do it. It's not going to kill your career if you don't necessarily get on board. But then you have some waves where if you don't get on board, then it can actually really hurt you, right? It can kill your business or it can really damage your career and your viability. One of those waves in the past was probably the PC wave, right? Like actually the computer and internet wave. Like if you didn't get on board with that, then you struggled big time, right? You're probably not around anymore. If you were in business back then, you didn't get on board with that. AI seems like it's that type of wave. It doesn't seem like it's one of these optional, like, hey, you can either invest in social media or not. You don't have to do that in order to win. Or with Web3, the kind of the proof is still to be proven, I guess, as to say. The case is still out on that. AI seems like if you don't jump on that wave in the right way, then you're going to be on the outside looking in. And I know, Chad, what's one of your favorite phrases when it comes to people being scared about their jobs with AI?
You will not be replaced by AI. You will be replaced by someone who uses it. Which brings us to our second point. Talk about a segue in the importance in this moment of upskilling and reskilling. And one of the things that I want to talk about is that there's there's a lot of fear and uncertainty around AI and what it's going to mean for us. I even struggle with it myself, if I'm being totally honest with you guys. Like we're actively figuring this out and iterating on it for our business and for the show even, and everything that we're doing. How does this help us, and how can we get sharper? But here's the beauty of it. We are in such a unique time right now that the vast majority of the population is not an expert and has not figured this out yet. Everyone is asking these questions. So if you just dig in a little bit more than everyone else, you can very quickly find yourself on the front end of this thing. And that'll position you for even better viability in the long run in your career.
And what's cool about a lot of the audience listening to this is a lot of you are more technical in nature. So you're going to have a natural, I think you're going to have a natural affinity for this stuff. And instead of, again, opting out and saying, hey, let's let somebody else figure that out, encouraging you, lean in on the front end, be one of the people that's actually pushing the agenda and figuring things out, because like Chad said, there's not very many experts in this space right now, and especially for your particular company, your particular industry, you can be one of the people that are figuring it out, and that will pay massive dividends for you. So what's our last point, Chad?
Yeah, the last point is really just keeping the human side of this in mind. It's that we need to continue to cultivate our soft skills, because as AI becomes more mainstream, people who are competitive in the job market just in general will catch up and upskill and reskill. And so you'll see it to be more commonplace. The way we will continue to set ourselves apart are our soft skills. It's our ability to connect, our ability to influence change with this tool, and our ability to think creatively about its application. So it's about networking, it's understanding, asking good questions, and building the right relationships that can help you get onto that front end of the wave.
And it's
What
almost
would you add
like
to
that.
that?
It's even more important than ever, because people who
Yeah.
listen to this show know how passionate we are about, hey, technical skills are almost like it's like the table stakes. When you can combine technical skills with some strong soft skills, that's what really helps you write your ticket. It's almost like with the advent of AI, that becomes even more paramount, because if whoever's using AI effectively, it's almost like it democratizes a lot of that more technical ability. So it becomes that much more important, how you influence, how you can communicate, how you can network, build relationships. And Chad, I think you have an absolute golden nugget to leave the audience with on one simple practical thing they can do to grow their career when it comes to this.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's one takeaway, like one action step for you. If you're at a bigger company or wherever, find your org chart. Go look it up and figure out who in your company might be responsible for figuring out AI and how to implement it. Stay informed, upskill yourself, do your research, and then reach out to them and just set a call and ask questions about what they're thinking, share a little bit about what you're learning and how you think it might apply to your role within EPM or Anaplan or SAP, Oracle, whatever systems you're working in. Think about, how does this impact performance management? How does this impact planning? And begin to build partnership, because I guarantee you, you might be the only person in your company or one of very few who would be willing to take that step and do it. And then you'll continue to set yourself apart. That would give you that unfair advantage.
That is a nugget. That's worth the price of this show, your subscription cost, which is absolutely free.
It's
But
free
no,
for you.
that is awesome, guys, because every single company right now, I can tell you this, every single company, at least medium to definitely large company, is trying to get their hands around AI and what it means for them, right? So whether they're building in-house proprietary machine learning and AI, or for the majority of them, how they're figuring out how can we integrate with, how can we leverage outside stuff. They have someone, probably, if they don't have them yet, they're going to have them soon, who's responsible at a leadership level for architecting this and for thinking about AI and the implications for their platform, for their business, and especially in the space that we're in the EPM space. This could not, we had an episode with Sam Kubek, right, Chad, and talking about the AI and the
Yep.
advent of AI and EPM. We know it's coming, and it already is present in some ways for us, but it's going to get more robust in the EPM world. But think about it for your company, especially if you're on the customer side. Your company is grappling with this right now. That's a very tangible thing you can do, is find that person. If you don't know it from the org chart, ask around and say, hey, who's tasked with this from a VP level right now? And network with them, meet with them, show them your enthusiasm, your curiosity, and maybe you can be a part of a task force that kind of helps them figure this out for your company, and you can drive some real significant change and value and set yourself apart in a huge way. So
100%. And if we know that leadership is thinking about it, the C-suite, the executive team, if you can become in their eyes a go-to expert and resource on AI, talk about an opportunity to set yourself apart. And because everyone's on a level playing field right now, it probably won't take quite as much as you think, and you'll have a lot of grace to build the plane as you're flying it, because they are too.
I love that. All right, guys. With that, we will leave you. See you in future episodes. We got some great guests coming up, and hope you guys have an awesome day. Peace. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Wherever you're consuming this, if it's YouTube, if it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, we appreciate you. Make sure you're subscribed. We have a lot more amazing guests on the way, a lot more great content. We're doing our best to bring you value and have fun while we do it. We really want this to be a career advantage, listening to this show, and we want you to enjoy it. So it means a lot. Make sure you're subscribed for what's to come. And also, if you're up for it, it would mean a lot if you leave us a like, a comment, a rating, a review, whatever platform you're on. That really helps, and it gets us fired up when we see those. So I appreciate you guys. Find us on LinkedIn. I'm Blake Bozarth, my co-host Chad Pike with a Y. Would love to connect with you there. Have an awesome day. See you next time. Peace.